Is the quarterback getting better? You know, it's funny. Do you know how many people went over to my Twitter and said, Sills, why were you killing the Eagles yesterday? And I said I wasn't killing them. I actually thought I was being very positive. Let's see if we can get Zander back in here. Hopefully got a better connection. Zander.
I don't think it's going to be better, but.
Your audio's great. Everybody could hear you here. So, Zander, get this. I had a lot of people come over to my my Twitter page and go, why were you killing the Eagles yesterday? And I'm like, Hoss, if anything, you won a game playing C- football with so much room for improvement that when people say this, well, that was a B effort, you better hope that's not a B effort, because a year ago you were a B-plus team, and that's not good enough. You've got to be an A team to get to the NFC title game and an A team to get to the Super Bowl. You can't play B-plus or B football like you did a year. You look at this, Zander. Would we not agree a year ago the Eagles were a B team, 11 wins, second in the division, playoff team. Guys had great career years. The football team, did it have ups and downs? Well, yeah, because that's what B teams are. They have holes in their team. They had holes all over the defense, and they had some holes in the play calling and coaching. Well, you're hoping this year, because you can't be a B team and get to an NFC title game. You have got to be an A team when you get to that game.
No doubt about it. I don't know why that people get so upset with you saying that. Why would that not be true? We're talking about winning a Super Bowl here. Guys, we're not talking about making the playoffs. We're not talking about winning 9 or 10 football games. We want to be the best in the world. We want to win the Super Bowl, right? You want to parade on Broad Street? You're right. You can't turn the ball over. You got to be a better football team. Now, it's week 1. You know, I'm not sounding the alarm, but from your perspective, I understand where you're coming from. I understand what you're saying. People are calling me, I'm sounding like Sills. I'm a hater in the chat. No, I want to be great. I want to be great. And to be great, you got to play great, and you got to clean up all that, unnecessary stuff. So that's what the expectation is, and I think they're going to do it in game 2 here. You know, look, the reality of the new NFL, Sileo, is September is now the preseason because nobody plays. So you come out here and you have guys that are completely rusty. And like I've said on the show before, if I didn't do a show for 230 days, I'd come on here and I would be rusty. You know, I'd be nervous. I wouldn't know exactly how to do it yet. I'd have to get back in my rhythm. That's the same for any profession, anything you do. It doesn't even have to be a profession, for any hobby, for anything you do in life, right? So when they go out there and they practice, that's not the same as having a game. So this is the first time that Jalen's been out there in 200 plus days since we lost to the Bucs. They're rusty, no doubt. So I'm starting to view September football a lot differently, and I think everybody else should. But that doesn't mean you're wrong, by the way. It doesn't mean that they don't have a lot of stuff to clean up. But I think they will clean it up, and that's where I'm going with it. I think we're early. I think the 34 points with 3 turnovers shows the potential of this team. And I think there's a lot of silver linings to take from that game. And by the way, you left 1-0, so that's
most
really
importantly.
Exactly. Most importantly. So we're in a good spot going into week 2 here. And by the way, that Falcons team did not look good. So I think we're going to have a shoe in here for game 2. Now, any given Sunday in the NFL, but I do think we're a much better team than Atlanta.
They're going to be better too. And by the way, they were not bad on defense. They were bad offensively in that football game against Pittsburgh. And I'll say this to you. I said this, and I don't think the Eagles are anywhere near this yet. I mentioned the teams that have the 2 combinations of really good O-line and really good D-line. Well, Pittsburgh has that. Pittsburgh has a good front 7, and Pittsburgh has a good O-line. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to defend the run. So Pittsburgh's in that room with Detroit, San Francisco. They're in that conversation there. So you got to remember, and to your point about being rusty, game 1, well, I think that was on display last night. Aaron Rodgers hadn't played football in 2 years.
Yeah, right. No.
Okay. I mean, that's not Aaron Rodgers football. By the way, his mobility is completely gone. Will that improve against Tennessee? Probably. I don't know yet.
You don't know, man. He's old. Remember, he's an older dude. So
yeah, but how about the NFL? You see the schedule for the NFL and the Jets? They play Tennessee, Denver, Bo Nix, and then they play like Sam Darnold. boy, did they want to set that story
And
up.
Darnold, you talked about PFF ratings. Who was
he played well.
He was the number 1 ranked quarterback in the NFL ahead of Patrick Mahomes in week 1. Now, that's if you care about PFF ratings, but he did have a good game. So look, we'll see, but you're right. Rusty last night. The Niners didn't look too rusty. I mean, they look pretty good to me. They're a good football team. I know everybody likes to, we don't have the greatest feeling about the Niners here in Philly, but that's a good football team, man. They've assembled a good team there in San Francisco, and they're going to be a problem in the NFC. So that's a team we're going to have to deal with. By the way, can I just say this without everybody getting in a stink? I like Brock Purdy, man, as a football player. I know he's got a great roster. I know he's being elevated by the coach and the players around him. I like that player, man. I like the way he approaches the game. I'm a Brock Purdy guy. I must say, I like the way he plays the game. I think he's better than people give him credit for. And if he starts clicking, if he plays his best football, that's a team that could make it to the Super Bowl. So we got to be weary of that team in the playoffs as an NFC contender, no doubt.
How about this? I said it in the first hour, and here's the difference, Zander. The difference between Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts. Hurts doesn't throw across the middle.
He did throw 50%. So look.
Kyle Shanahan designs plays on a game basis for him to go across the middle.
Yeah, but still, that's an old narrative right now, and I'm going to debunk it for you right here on the show. I mean, just give me a second. I'll find the stat because I was doing the research on this earlier today. That 52.6% of Jalen Hurts' passes in week 1 were over the middle of the field. It was 10th in the NFL.
And that's why he had turnovers.
Well, you're right, because 2 of those passes were to the middle of the field. But
correct.
I would argue that those people are ripping me in the chat. They're just too funny about that. I knew everybody was going to go nuts when I said
when you went there, though. I knew when you went there across the middle. That's right. He struggles across the middle.
No, he did. He struggled across the middle. But look, I don't view that as much as across the middle as I did. That was just bad bad fundamental football.
How about
throwing across your body, throwing off the back foot up into the middle of the field in triple coverage? I mean, you can clean that up, whether that's to the outside or to the middle. That's an interception.
How about the missed throws?
Yeah, the missed throws weren't great. A couple of them were not to the middle of the field, though. They were to the outside. So,
again, Purdy can't escape this one thing, Zander. He can't escape Jimmy Garoppolo because Garoppolo theoretically did the same shit that he's doing. And there's 2 things he has: 7th round pick, and Homie did it too. So Prince brought it up, and very rarely does Prince have any kind of decent takes.
I love Prince.
But he had a really good one today, and thank you for the super question.
Prince, I love you, Prince.
The real question is, what size is that collar shirt Sills is wearing? He's able to button the top button. Hey, Junior, you must be under the impression that Big Sills is not a stealth human being here. I'm rolling right now. Look at this. I got room to spare, dickhead. Come on, Prince. You had some good takes early. You came in with a donkey one right there. How you doing, buddy? All right. I want to get to some numbers, though, that are troubling because I agree with you on the Hurt stuff. See, Zander thought he's going to get me going, yeah, half the passes across the middle. Yeah, he had 2 turnovers across the middle. You don't think he struggles? How you doing? How's this one here? Dean was one of the worst rated linebackers according to the Bible. Pro Football. I don't really believe that.
I know you don't.
Guy, I don't believe that. And quite frankly, Jalen Hurts was not the worst quarterback in week 1. Daniel Jones. Hey, watch this. Zander, I'm ready for Drew Lock to be in there at New York. I'll take Drew Lock. Would you have a problem? Would you have a problem if you're Kayvon Thibodeau and someone went to you and went, hey, we're moving off of Daniel Jones and going to Drew Lock? I'd be like, no, let's do it.
I know,
that guy stinks.
Forget Kayvon Thibodeau. What about Malik Neighbors, the guy that they just drafted in the first round?
Did you hear what he tweeted out? Hey, he told his girlfriend, I'm open.
Oh my gosh! No, that they got trouble in New York, so I'm happy that we're not the Giants. No doubt about it. But
how about Dean being one of the worst rated linebackers on the weekend, and Jalen Carter also, Avante, and there's Bryce Huff. as also one of the worst rated guys. Are you
Look
concerned?
at this. Look at this. I come on the National Football Show, and all of a sudden, Big Sills has all the PFF grades ready to rip everybody with all of a sudden, Dan
These aren't my
Sileo is now
numbers.
the king of pro football.
Hold
Focus.
on.
I mean,
These
come
aren't
on,
my
Sills.
numbers. These aren't my numbers. I didn't come up with this intel. I don't sit around and do it. I mean, I just listen to what people post on my Twitter. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Dean stunk. Look, my assessment on Dean again, and I think you're probably with me on this, 50-50. I thought he had good moments and he had shitty moments. But, how about this? It's better than what I've seen him play in the last 20 games.
Yeah, well, definitely that. And if he made that splash play with the pick six that he dropped,
Oh,
we'd be talking about a different thing with Nakobe Dean. But look, he's a good downhill player. He played good against the run and stuff like that, but he struggles in coverage, and just like basically every linebacker in the league does. So, I thought Dean was encouraging. I think if he can be mediocre, and if Zack Baun can be better than we expected, then you'll have a decent linebacking core, middle of the pack linebacking core. And that's the best you're going to get, man. This team just they don't invest in the position. So to expect great play is not realistic. Now, Nakobe Dean was a third rounder. You could argue that's a pretty good investment in the position. But they just don't consistently go there, right? And add to that group like they do to the other positions on the field. So I'm basically past expecting great things from our linebackers, which is why I was so pleasantly surprised with Zack Baun on Friday night.
how about this one?
So
Here?
you ripped when we signed Zack Baun. You remember that, I'm sure. You said who? Zach who?
I still say it. Okay, he's had one game. Let's see what he does here against Atlanta, dog.
You're right.
And you see,
right.
I'm a man.
Look at Brian Pumper.
I'm just a consistency guy here, man. That's all I'm looking for, consistency. Holy crap. What was Jalen's PFF grade? Here, let me get the number exactly here for you. Here it is, 29.8. The worst quarterback rating of any quarterback in pro football this past week 1. I don't come up with the numbers. I just relay the numbers. That's all I do.
Who was the highest graded Eagles player, I know.
Who is it?
Reed Blankenship.
Good old Reed. Reed, if that's the highest graded. Over AJ?
Yeah, he was. AJ and Devontae were top 5. Reed Blankenship was in there. I think Zack Baun was in there. And I forget the 5th one.
Definitely was it Lyman?
Yeah, I think it was Lane Johnson. And maybe even Jordan. I think I forget. John gave me the top 5. It wasn't Lyman, though. You're right. Yep.
Holy crap. That was Jalen's PFF grade. Can't defend.
WCB JJ. He says, Zander, I have all the respect for you, but F the Niners. Look, I have that same mentality, dude. Look, I mean, they came in here and destroyed us last year, but you got to be able to assess your opponents and assess your enemies wisely. That is a team that we should not sleep on. That is a good football team. And if we want to get to the Super Bowl this year, we're going to have to beat that football team. How do we do it? You got to be better than them. And that's a tough task right now when you look at that roster and the way that we played in week 1 versus the way they played. They are a better roster top to bottom than we are right now. And if Brock Purdy, forget being better than Jalen Hurts. If he turns the ball over less than Jalen Hurts, they're going to win more football games and they're going to have a better chance to beat us. So I get what you're saying. They came in last year wearing black like they were going to the Eagles funeral and beat the brakes off them. WCBJJ. But it'd be one thing if they did that and then they lost the game. They came in, they said they were going to do it, and then they did it. As a competitor, in a way, you have to respect that. Now, you got to beat it now, but they did what they said they were going to do last year. So that's a team that we should not mess with. That's a good football team, man.
Hit the like button, guys. Somebody brought a great topic up yesterday, and I want to throw this to you here. Let's do this here. Hang on. I got a comment from Gary Cobb here. Oh, okay. Here's somebody brought this up. Did you see 2023 Jalen Hurts this past Friday?
Yeah, at times. I mean, when he was at his worst, yes. But at other times, you saw great things coming from Jalen Hurts.
Blitz.
That was my problem.
Up against the blitz was improved.
Yeah, definitely that was improved. He was the top-rated quarterback in the league against the blitz. Now it was a smaller sample size than I expected. They
Still,
only, I think seven blitzes on him.
I think he was 6 or 7 for
6 or
whatever.
7, yeah, yep, with a perfect quarterback rating against it. So he definitely improved in that front, but I got to get those lows a little bit, higher. It's one thing if you're going to have great highs, but when you have the highs are high, but the lows are low, and that's what we saw on Friday night.
Peaks and valleys.
Yeah, too many peaks and valleys. So he'll clean that up, and I'm pretty confident he will do that. And if he does that, man, we're gonna be a tough team to beat because look, 34 points with 3 turnovers, that's pretty damn good. And then on the flip side, your defense gives up 29 to a pretty good offense, and and 2 of those drives in the beginning were in their own zone. So it's like the defense kind of handled it pretty well by only giving up 6 points on those first 2 drives.
I look at football teams differently than a lot of folks. I look at the first quarter poll of a season. I know there's 17 games now, Zander, but I look at the first 4 games of the year.
Yeah, that's what Barrett Brooks used to say. He used to do it, I think, in 3 or 4. He said after 4 games, you can assess where you're at.
You know how you look at the first 20 games of a baseball team and then you get to the All-Star break and you kind of have an idea what you're looking at here? That's kind of what I'm looking at. And albeit, I'd rather be 1-0 than 0-1. But to me, I could not believe some of the folks in here had really good takes in the first hour when I was saying the reason that Hurts is late on the throws and the reason that he was behind and maybe he didn't see things was because I just think this is a rep issue. I just think he's like, I think JM, who traditionally has no good takes whatsoever until the 4th hour, said it perfectly. He goes, you can actually see him thinking out there instead of it just being a natural thing for him. So this comes back to a little bit, even Nick addressed it today, about exhibition football. There's no doubt, Zander, that the Eagles value availability more than they do preparedness and readiness for the first 3 weeks of the season. And what would I rather have? Well, I'd rather have my guys on the field.
Yeah. And that's what Nick said. He said, I'm okay with rust, basically. They're okay with rust because they want to keep their guys healthy. And by the way, here's your results-based guy. They're 4-0 in Nick Sirianni's openers. So I came onto the postgame show and I said, I don't want to hear anybody say we don't need preseason reps ever again. I got news for me and for everybody else. They are not going to play the preseason ever. Not with Nick. And now maybe if something changed drastically with a different coach or a different regime came in.
And they've been pretty healthy in 4 years with him, don't you think?
They have been. That they have been. They've been overall really healthy. So I don't anticipate them changing. That doesn't mean I agree with it, but they're 4-0 in Nick Sirianni's openers. So he's not worried about the rust in week 1. He's just not. I can't blame him, really.
I think the Eagles would even be willing to take an L to have availability over that. I mean, obviously, that's how they're looking at it. Yeah. They'd rather have you can't look. Hey, Sills, would you rather be ready and lose a guy in week 1 like a Jalen Carter? No. I mean, no, I don't want that. We got to get pressured on Kirk to beat the Falcons. Carter and Davis got to have big games, which they didn't. They had a big first quarter. By week 4, we could tell what kind of team we got here. That's what I'm looking at. Nate,
big time. Because if you look at that Atlanta game that they played, there was a lot of pressure. Yep, a lot of pressure on Kirk Cousins.
DJ owned that game.
Yes, he did. He absolutely did. And that Pittsburgh defense is pretty good. So you're spot on, Nate. Like I know I said that team looks ripe to beat, and we look like a lot better than them. And in a way, they look like some food for us next week. You're going to have to get pressure because Kirk Cousins is capable of throwing the ball. Here's the problem, though, right now, Sills, with my take on the Falcons. That didn't look like the same Kirk Cousins. Remember, Kirk Cousins has never had an injury like that before that last year. Remember, he had however many straight years.
Mobility was limited. It looked.
Well, I mean, he went however many years without a big injury, never missing games and everything like that. And then he gets one injury. Now it's a bad injury. He wasn't planting to throw the ball. He couldn't move it all in the pocket. He looked timid. He looked scared at times. I mean, it looked like he didn't trust his foot at all.
But you know why he couldn't trust his footing? Can I tell you what Pittsburgh did that is so smart? My friend Carl Dunbar, who's a D-line coach, great conversation on Monday with him. Do you know what he had them doing? Oh, it's so brilliant. Zander. He had Hayward and those guys diving at his legs, not going at him, but making him do what? Watch this. When you dive at a quarterback's legs, his head goes down, the ball sails.
Yeah.
He was so worried about his lower leg injury from a year ago and not being confident in it, plus the outside edge pressure, the internal. How many times did you see him with internal pressure that really got to him? So to me, in this game on Monday, Davis and Carter, if they get that internal pressure, and Linderbaum, by the way, went out. They got a really good center in there. Now, I don't know if he's going to be healthy for Monday night. That's got to be a win.
How about this guy?
His rating was.
How about this guy? Look,
47.
how about this guy shows up versus the Falcons? You want pressure on Kirk, and I get it. We want it from Davis and Carter. But how about Milk Carton? How about 17-5 Bryce Huff, who everybody's all jacked up, and we got rid of one of the best one of the best pass rushers in the NFL to sign this guy, and the anticipation from the front office was that this guy was going to replace some of that production. Huff has been nowhere. He was nowhere in training camp, and we chalked it up to Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata.
Brandon Graham had more reps.
I know. So I want Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter to be great too. But when you're talking about getting after the quarterback, it's time for Milk Carton to show up. It's time, and I'm not going to give him that long. Now I will think back to Hassan Reddick. It took him 5 or 6 weeks to get going when he got signed here, but we don't have 5 or 6 weeks. You got paid $17.5 million, man. You better get out there and get after the quarterback. And if you're not going to get sacks, fine. You better get pressure. He got zero pressures on Friday night. Zero.
This is where I'm going to call bullshit on Fredo Sirianni here. He was asked a question. I don't know. I think it was Jeff McClain that asked the question. And he goes like this. He goes, what did you take that Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham had more reps than Bryce Huff? You know what he said? I was about keeping guys fresh and this and that. I'm like, keeping guys fresh? Nick, answer the question honestly. You paid a guy $51 million and you're rotating him with a 39-year-old Brandon Graham? I mean, what the hell are you doing, man? Brandon Graham is in the cusp of getting wheelchairs and rocking chairs on his farewell tour, and he's playing more and actually better than what this guy is. And you gave that guy $51 million. Come on, dog.
No, you're right. You're right. No doubt. I mean, look, everybody's giving him a pass because of the field, and that's what Lord Vaughn says. And I get it. Everybody
Lord
wants
Vaughn
to
has
give
horrible takes.
I get it. Everybody wants to give him a pass. Well, all right. Week 1 mulligan. You better show up in Atlanta, or it's in Philly, but you better show up versus Atlanta. That's a guy that needs to produce for this team to be successful, especially on defense. I mean, a lot of this defense is built on getting pressure on the quarterback, and they didn't get any of it on Friday. So, and we kind of skated by. We got lucky a little bit there. So he's going to have to show up, no doubt.
You want to feel better about Fredo Sirianni? I'm going to give you a list here. You ready? Here are the coaches that were hired in 2021. Ready? Brandon Staley from the Chargers.
Yeah.
Urban Liar with the Jags.
God.
Arthur Smith for the Falcons. Robert Saleh for the Jets. I think Nick's better.
All 3 of the 4 are fired, and Robert Saleh stinks on ice. He should be fired. I got
another one for you. David Culley, Houston Texans. And the only other guy that you would put ahead of Nick would be Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell, I'm giving the edge to.
How's that for you? All those guys, 7 coaches were hired. Nick's been to the playoffs every year. He owns an NFC. And all those guys, there's only one guy that owns an NFC championship. That's Nick Sirianni. There's only one guy that's been to the playoffs every year. He's been a head coach. It's Nick Sirianni. I mean, hey, of all those guys hired in 21, like you said, Urban Liar's back on TV again. Arthur Smith, I think, is the OC of the Steelers. The guy in New York is on a respirator there, especially after last night when You know, the thing that kind of shocked me about the Jets last night wasn't so much the fact that Aaron Rodgers had rust. What happened to the Jets defense? They got rolled off the field. I mean, that was about.
Well, it's funny. I was saying this to John.
Like 50 minutes of ass kicking last night by the Niners.
Yeah, it's funny. I was saying to John, and I just was ripping him with Bryce Huff, and I went on social media. All of Jets Twitter last night was like, you know, we expected undrafted free agents to replace Bryce Huff, and they were getting nothing from their third and fourth edge rushers, and they were all you know, pissed off about their not having Bryce Huff anymore. So, you know, look, there's multiple ways to look at it, and the Jets fans are pissed we lost him, and we're pissed we got him if he's not going to be able to produce. So we'll see what ends up happening with everything, but you're right.
Don't forget, folks, our great friends. I got 2 more questions for you, Zander. Don't forget our great friends at BetUS. You're looking for a new betting home this football season. It's off and running right now. You can join it anytime, too, by the way. It's the home of Michael Vick. Great opportunity for you guys, and we're proud here at JAKIB Sports to be partnered up with these guys during the 2024 season. Your first 125% bonuses on your first 3 deposits of up to $2K are there for you, plus 200% in crypto bonuses also for you. As I said, it's the home of Michael Vick. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business. 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year, and live wagering on all major games, college and pro. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Back in 30 seconds.
We'll be back. So we're actually going to stay right here. BetUS moved on from their spot, so we're good to just keep rolling now. Just use that code, everybody, YouTube150, for anybody that goes to betus.com.pa.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. All good here. So moving forward, are you giving Jalen Hurts a pass for the first game?
I mean, we won the game. He threw for 280 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. I thought he had a decent game. I just thought the lows were too low. So I'm not giving him a pass on the turnovers. You absolutely have to clean it up, because if you continue that type of football, you're not going to reach the promised land in the NFL. You just can't turn the ball over that much. Other teams are too good. It's too competitive of a league. So I'm not giving him a pass on that front, but I didn't think what I saw was like, holy crap, sound the alarm on what's going on with Jalen Hurts. I just thought that's a dumb mistake. You know, and you can't make those dumb mistakes anymore when you're in the league for as long as you are, and you have, you know, you're making what you're making, and our season is relying on him in a lot of ways. You know,
completely it is.
Yeah, completely.
Your season's not relying on AJ or Devontae. They had great years a year ago. It's all about the quarterback, dude. I get this. Think about it, Zander. A year ago, those guys all had pretty much career years, and it didn't result in advancing in the playoffs. This is all on him. He needs to be more effective. And again, what are you expecting to see out of him after week 2?
Jalen Hurts is going to have
350,
3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 120+ rating in the game versus the Falcons. It's the Jalen Hurts coming out party in Atlanta in 6 days.
You think they're beating the Falcons, right?
I think they're destroying them.
You know why? I think
45-10.
Where are you getting your pressure from to get to him?
Jalen Carter.
Oh,
Bryce.
Lowest rated D tackle in football according to the Bible. Not that I believe it. 163 yards. What do you think? Who's covering Bijan Robinson?
That's not my official prediction, guys, by the way, 45-10. That's a little bit lofty. But I do think they're going to destroy the Falcons next week. And I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a fantastic game. Fantastic.
Who has a better game? Bijan Robinson or Saquon?
Saquon.
I'll take Bijan.
I'm sure you will.
He had a better year a year ago on a shitty Falcons team.
Well, they're using him more now. Last year, a lot of Falcons fans.
He had 1,600 yards in total offense a year ago.
Yeah, a lot of fans are upset with how much they didn't run him at times. I forget who the other back they had that they kept giving the ball to. So they gave it more to Bijan. Bijan's a great player. I'm not knocking Bijan at all. I like Bijan a lot, but you're asking me to pick between him and Saquon. I'm going to take my man Saquon every single time, baby.
My man Saquon. Okay.
Yeah, I just gave away a jersey. By the way, update for everybody. The jersey was given away. Our man, what's his name? William Fleming did claim the jersey, and he is a great man. I spoke with him on the phone today. He has given the jersey to his grandson, his 10-year-old grandson. So I ordered the jersey. It's already been ordered, shipping it right to his house, and he is going to get that jersey. So make sure you guys become a member if you want to be entered into the next one. But I thought that was worth giving you guys the update that he did claim the jersey.
Is JH's last drive versus Packers a better drive than the OT win? No. Since winning versus the Packers resurged the Eagles' fate in winning again. Dude, I thought that moment he had against the Bills in that overtime, I thought that was one of the best moments that Jalen Hurts had as a football player because, man, that was a guts drive at the end there in that overtime. Josh Allen had 500 yards in total offense in that game. I mean, you had to do everything in your power, and it was one. You know, I'll say one thing that I agree with Nick Sirianni, Zander, I'll let you go here. I will give you this about him. You know, there's something about him is this. You know, there's a mentality about him that you have to murder him. And what I mean by that is you can't wound him.
Who, Jalen?
You can't injure him. You have to kill him.
Yeah.
Because
I know exactly
he'll come back to haunt you. He'll come back to haunt you if you don't take him completely out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. No, you're right. You're right. He's relentless. And John talks about that all the time. So the lows are low, but he keeps coming, man. He really does. It's a good point by you. And it's very, very, very true. Jalen does keep coming. Relentless like a pit bull, Abe says in the chat. Appreciate that one, Abe. But no, you're right. There's no doubt about it. So, you know, the one thing I don't like, though, is I don't like continuously digging holes that we have to get out of.
Yep.
You know, like that beginning of the game, that could have been 14-0, man, really quick. Like we're lucky that thing didn't go like it
I said, they won. I think they won the game in the first 10 minutes of the game because
I know by not giving up touchdowns there. I mean, Green Bay got the ball at the 18-yard line for crying out loud. So, you know, I look, Jalen is going to be a machine versus the Falcons. Mark it now. Take your bets on BetUS.
375 and 5 touchdowns.
No, look, Eagles talk. He says he's going to tie the 7-touchdown record.
God. Hey, Eagle talk, let me ask you something. If you had to win a 60-minute game, would you take Nick or would you take Hurts?
You've already asked me that on the show.
I know. I'm asking him.
He
donated $2. You know you're taking old Nicky. Big swinging Nick. You know you're taking him. You ain't taking 23 turnovers in 18 games.
I don't think I'm taking Nick.
Oh, my God. You have totally sold out. All right, man. You have fish. Jay, he is now with all of you. He has completely sold out now. He is 100% sold that Hurts is the future and he will be in the Eagle Hall of Fame one day. You think he makes the Eagle Hall of Fame one day? He couldn't even say it. He had a nod his head.
Sills, I think Jalen Hurts, when it's all said and done.
Oh, God.
I think he has multiple Super Bowls in Philly.
No way. No way. How can you have multiple Super Bowls with multiple coordinators every year?
Multiple Super Bowls for Jalen Hurts in Philly. We will be having several parades on Broad Street with Jalen Hurts at the helm, a 26-year-old stud at quarterback who continues to get better and better. Howie has built the Avengers squad around him.
How about Howie Roseman on the sideline? I was like, what are they?
Hate that.
What are they doing letting the little fella out there on the sideline? He's out there, you see him going, they scored, and he's like, yeah. And I'm going like, what's that guy doing out there? What is he doing? You got the little elf guy out there running around on the sidelines there. Is he not a glory whore?
I'll
Howie
tell you what,
Roseman.
your comment yesterday had me cracking up, man. Did somebody need their taxes done? I was crying, man.
Hey, there he was on the sideline, Roseman and Associates. I'm going.
I'll tell you what, speaking of Howie, he's a good GM, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good because every report that has come out has been confirmed. He went for both Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, and neither of them wanted to come to the city of Philadelphia. And now, I mean, say what you want about Jalen Hurts. You might not be his biggest fan. He's a lot better than both of those two guys right about now. So we're in good hands with Jalen Hurts. And Howie got a little lucky there, but sometimes, like I said, it's better to be lucky than good.
One last thing, Zander. Do you know how we were talking about how you can't move off of Hurts if you ever had? Not that you would. You would not.
Yeah.
Okay, it'd be like something like what, 50 million or something. You know how much money it is right now if you moved off of Deshaun Watson? It's $180 million they owe him still. $180 million.
Yeah. You know, what did you think? Did you see that there's now another suit coming out against him?
When it rains, it pours, dude.
I know.
Let me ask you this. How about this? Isn't it really funny? Who's a quarterback in the league that has an asshole attitude like a Cleveland person? Who's a guy in the league that kind of looks like Cleveland in a way? Who's a guy that is a smart ass? Isn't that Baker Mayfield? I mean, of all the people that kind of look like Cleveland, you know what they did? They panicked and went for the guy instead of hanging on to the guy that they had in the room. And at the end of the day, they gave up too soon.
I know.
I mean,
look, here's the thing, though. Would Baker?
I know hindsight's 20/20, dude.
Would Baker have turned into what he's turned into in there? I don't know. I don't like that Browns organization. I don't think they do much of anything right. They haven't done anything right, especially at quarterback. And however many years it's been, 30 freaking years, or however many years it's been. So, but I am a Baker guy. I'm with you, man. I liked Baker when he was drafted. I liked him in college. Yeah, I liked his mentality. I liked the kind of the FU approach he had, especially when you're an undersized dude and you have the deficiencies that Baker has going up against, guys in the NFL. You got to have that chip on your shoulder, and he does. So I like Baker coming out, and he's really looking good, man. He was he the top? He was up. He must have been up there as a top-rated quarterback.
No, he was the top pick.
Yeah, or I think Darnold had the best rating, but from PFF at least. But
no, I was saying he was the number 1 overall pick by Cleveland.
Oh no, yeah, I'm talking about this week.
Oh yeah,
He was one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Dude, 147.7 rating. He was like 26 of 30 for 287 and 4 touchdowns. He's picked up right where he left off, 4,100 yards a year ago and 28 touchdowns. I tell you what, the Bucs look pretty good with that. Mike Evans is still a stud.
Yeah, I love Mike.
He is even Kid Godwin was good this past weekend. It depends on the game. Playoff Nick season hurts. Well, I'll take playoff Nicky. Those are the games that matter. Not 2 and 3 hurts. Anyway, well, Zander says, oh, by the way, who said that?
What matters more though, dude? You can't hedge that question like that.
Yeah, an Eagle fan can.
No, he can't. You're talking about playoff. You're going to take Nick, and season you're going to take Jalen Hurts. That means you're taking Nick. Because when you have a 60-minute game on the line, it's for more than a regular season win. Sileo is not asking that question to win in week 4 versus the measly Patriots. He's talking about a Super Bowl when you got 60 minutes on the line. That means you're taking Nick.
Or
Say
a game
with your chest.
Or a game to claim home field advantage. That's the kind of games I'm talking about. By the way, somebody said that he's with Zander, that multiple Super Bowls by the greatness of Jalen Hurts
Eagles
will happen.
Talk, baby. My man, Eagles Talk is riding with me. Jack Straw says, Zander, where are you at here? Are you talking about the Nick and Jalen? I told you I'm taking Jalen. I'll take Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts shines when the lights are the brightest. He always has. And I'll take him for sure.
Nick Foles has always shined when the lights are the brightest and wins.
Talk about high highs and low lows, though.
5-2 in the playoffs. How you doing?
Hey, look, we got a Lombardi trophy because of Nick Foles. You'll never hear me say anything bad about Nick.
And he got a statue. Being a backup quarterback personifies Philly right there, man. Hardworking, nothing handed to him. I like it, man. Really good stuff. Zander, where are we in the like list, my friend? Hey, by the way, there's one of my favorite people right there, Des the Joe. Look at him here, man. I love this guys. Nick Foles' defense made a play.
156. We're lacking on the likes.
Come on here, guys. Oh, how about this, though, Zander? Okay. Eagles have a few guys on the O-line, 2 burgers away from 400 pounds. And it was on display here, Sydney. Okay. You could call those 2 guys the White Castle brothers. How you doing?
Jack, you're right. This chat's going nuts, man. This chatter's been crazy these last couple of days. Look, the season's here, everybody.
157, we're behind. We need 200 immediately.
Yeah, we're way behind.
Come on, man. We need to get up to 200 here. Don't forget Gary Cobb's going to join us at the bottom of the hour as well. And then we're hoping to get Mike Golick maybe in hour number 4 at 5:30 Eastern. Zander.
JM and Flexen, behave in the chat, man. You're making it hard to read on the show. I mean, JM and Flexen have been going at it for 30 freaking minutes.
Damn, this thing's been flying, man. I mean, the chat is flying today here.
I know.
You guys are kidding. By the way, a lot of folks in on all of our social media platforms today, huh? Pretty good stuff here, man.
Yeah, man.
About 1,000 people.
A lot of people loving the content this week. It's great stuff. So appreciate everybody.
Now, looks what happened. This is why these guys keep doing this. He still wants the Eagles to lose. Why would I want the Eagles to lose? I like my show to win. How you doing? All right, homie. I'll see you tomorrow morning on Birds 365 with John McMullen. Don't forget Farzetta kicks off the morning here, also on our platform here. Zander, great stuff, brother. Thank you so much.
Appreciate yourselves. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Behave, everybody. Come on, man. Let's talk some football. All right, guys. See you.
Got it, man. Hey, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like list or the like button here. We appreciate it. We'll have Gary Cobb around the corner. Keep it here, National Football Show.